Welcome. In front of me I have the Motorola Edge 50 Pro, and today I will go for unboxing along with a quick look at the device itself. So let's just get straight into it. A little bit of tear right here, but whatever. Okay, so in here get some paperwork, and we also get our plastic case. Anyway, it is frosted, as you can see, hardcover. And next we have our phone. There we go. Ooh, that's a nice back. We'll certainly like that. Then opening the box, obviously below that we have a charger and cable, and also a really nice scent. I for some reason this just gets me. I really like this, where the unboxing also has just the box itself has a nice smell to it, unlike some other ones where you open up and you just get this nice Chinese plastic smell. Here you have like basically some almost like men's perfume. It is nice. I do like this. Anyway, cable right here is a Type-C to Type-C, and then the charger is a whopping 125 watt charger. Now, for a moment there I was kind of confused where I saw 25, but yeah, there is also one. So yeah, this is an insanely fast charger, something that Samsung would never include with their device, just because I don't think they would be scared that it would blow up. It would blow up, considering their phones, flagship devices from Samsung cap at like 25 watts, maybe 40, depending on which one. I used to use a Fold 4, and that garbage capped at 20, I think was like 5 watts of charging. So it was an absolute joke for a device that costed $1,800 effing dollars. Now this, on the other hand side, charges like what, 6 times faster, so nice. And let's go over the specs right here. One thing that I will mention, this is more of a mid-range device rather than a flagship, and because of that the price is a little bit lower, but honestly it's not low enough to justify going for something, or it's not low enough to be called a mid-range in terms of price, but specs wise it is. So we have a nice little splash screen for setup. That's new. Hello Moto, it looks nice. Anyway, let's start off with the display right here. So the display is a 6.7 inch display. Honestly feels much smaller. Like when I'm holding this in my hand, the device feels like it's smaller than a 6.7 inch display for some reason. Maybe it's because of the curved display or just a more narrow build, but apparently the display right here is pretty big. Anyway, it's a 20 by 2712 pixels display. It is a P-OLED display. P, I think, refers to the fact that it's just curved. 1 billion colors, 144 Hz refresh rate, HDR10 plus certification, and a peak brightness of whopping 2000 nits. It also boasts over 90%, so 92% screen to body ratio, with a pixel density of 446 pixels per inch. Covered with corner Gorilla Glass right here. So the display right here is actually really good. Again, still wouldn't say it's worth the €700 asking price. But anyway, continuing on into the cameras at the back, we have a triple camera setup. The main sensor is a 50 megapixel f1.425mm wide lens with multiple directional PDAF, laser autofocus, and optical image stabilization, then 10 megapixel f2.0 67mm telephoto, optical image stabilization, 3 times optical zoom, PDAF, and then 13 megapixel f2.2 220 degree 16mm ultra wide lens with whatever. Now with those cameras you can shoot videos at 4K 30 frames, 1080p 3060 and slow motion of 120 with 10-bit HDR10 plus. And then if we flip it over to the front, we have a hole punched camera, which you can see right here, and that houses a 50 megapixel f1.9 21mm wide lens that can record 4K 30 frames or 1080p 30 and 60. So those are the cameras. Now moving on into the inside of the device, we have a relatively small battery size, considering this supposedly is a 6.7-inch display, which I'm starting to kind of doubt. Let me quickly see if there's anything on the box. If it wouldn't been ripped, maybe I could figure it out, but I can't. So let's just assume that this is correct. And now, with that in mind, we have a 4,500 mAh battery that can charge 125 watts on a cable, or if this is correct, 50 watts wirelessly. So that is wirelessly, it's still faster than what Samsung offers, which is just like massive L for Samsung. They should just put it in a plug and hang it in their office. Anyway, so battery and charging speed here are, well, the battery size is a little bit on a smaller size, but the charging speed all makes up for this without any kind of doubt. Now, inside we have a Snapdragon 7 Gen 3, so a pretty decent processor, though it's no flagship, with 128 gigabytes of storage and 8 gigabytes of RAM, and this is UFS 2.2 apparently. So again, 700 euros asking price for a UFS 2.2 just kind of feels like an L for Motorola right here. And additionally, the starting 128 gig storage, like the entry storage, for 700 euros? Are you serious? Give me at least 256. I shouldn't spend more money to get 256 with 8 gigs of RAM. So yeah, that's the second option. Then we have 256 with 12 gigs and 512 with 12 gigs. Again, all of these are with UFS 2.2 apparently, which just kind of makes this not very good. Half a terabyte with this kind of storage, if you can record at 4K 30 frames, the phone will seem a little bit more sluggish compared to some other devices that come with a faster processor and just better storage at the same price. So this just, I just feel off about this. And last thing to mention is the additional things that you don't get to really see. So we have under display fingerprint sensor. On the side we have our volume rockers right here and a power button. Then on the other side we have our antennas, and apart from that nothing more. On the top we just have Dolby Atmos. No, just no. Stop. Dolby should stop putting their dogshit logo on everything that they possibly can. This is nowhere near a Dolby Atmos viable. I don't care what kind of software bullshit they're doing inside. No, you will never get Dolby Atmos out of this, and just Dolby Atmos itself is just kind of like a scam in itself, so whatever. So anyway, that's the top, along with just more antennas right here, and then at the bottom we have our SIM tray, and yes, I mean just SIM tray. There is no expandable storage, so yikes. And then we have our speakers along with the charging port. Now the reason I'm focusing on the fact that there is no expandable storage is because the base entry model of this device comes with 128 gigs of storage, which should automatically come with a, in my opinion, expandable storage. Additionally, the asking price is a little bit too steep for a device like that. Now I'm actually going to check the price just so I am absolutely certain about it, because it just seems a little bit too high. So this is the, what was this? Edge 50 Pro. Okay, no, so the price isn't correct, right? 14. No, actually, no, never mind, it is. It actually is correct. So it's about 3,000 PLN, where I'm from, which, yeah, no. Let me quickly check something. So I want to see other devices that would compare to this or possibly outperform it, and that would be the X6, I think? X6. Bear with me while I'm just kind of gonna check out the phone. Huh? No way. That is half of the price. Okay, so this might be a kind of not everyone will like this recommendation, but it is, in my opinion, a decent option. So that would be the Poco from Xiaomi X6 Pro. Now, this is a Chinese phone, I know, and I do tend to recommend these phones a lot, like probably too often, and I'm not sponsored by them. But that being said, the phone itself offers just too much value for the money, and this is literally half the freaking price of this phone. It does have some cutbacks, so just going over this, in terms of the display, it's basically the same. The differences there are so minuscule that it's unnoticeable. It is technically the same size. The phone is a little bit wider compared to the Motorola, and the processor in there is a Dimensity 8300 Ultra, which compares more to like the flagship grade of Snapdragons, like Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, I think, somewhere between the 8 Gen 2 and Gen 2 Plus, or whatever it was, the overclocked one. So it's a fantastic processor. Additionally, it has a bigger battery but slower charging speeds, and base entry comes with 256 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM with UFS 4.0. Keep in mind, at half the price. So basically, these two devices are very comparable, while one costs half compared to the other. So I would recommend going for the Poco X6 Pro, as it is you pay half of the price of this phone and get basically the same device. There is no reason to overpay for a phone. They're all doing the same thing. So yeah, that's one of the bigger factors. Now, in terms of cameras, that's where it kind of falls off, as this one has a, what was the camera right here? It had a telephoto lens and an ultra wide, and that was a 10 and 13 megapixels, along with the 50 megapixel wide sensor as the main shooter. The Poco would have a 64 megapixel main shooter, so it might be basically the same kind of picture quality, but it falls off on ultra wide, which is an 8 megapixel instead of the 10, it was 13 megapixel on this one. And it also comes with a dogshit 2 megapixel macro. It's completely useless, I'm not gonna lie. While this phone includes a 10 megapixel telephoto. So those are basically the cameras right here as a comparison, but still, for the main sensor, they're probably going to be roughly the same, and it's all what you prefer in terms of coloring, all that stuff. But one big camera focus. Come on, there we go. One big bonus for the Motorola is their software support, which is, if I remember correctly, like 4-year software support, compared to basically everyone else that does a 2-year support for the devices. So you're gonna get like just 2 Android updates, meaning, for instance, from like the 14 that this one comes, I think. Where is it? Yep, 14. You will get, for this one, it's probably going to go up to like Android 18 or whatever they're going to be calling it. Well, the Poco one will just end at 16, if I'm correct. But still, half the price, keep in mind. So, anyway, with that being said, hopefully this gave you a decent understanding of why I would recommend going for other devices, as I find this one just a little bit too overpriced. If it can be purchased at, let's just say about 600, 550, that would be an acceptable price for such a device, as it does offer the software support, security updates, and all that stuff for a little bit longer than the Poco will, or well, twice as long. But at the current price, I just find it too high to justify the purchase. So anyway, with this being said, hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to smash like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.